Hi, this is Jack from PCO Farm. I wanted to do a quick walk-through progress update on the swales. I think it's been almost a year since the last one, maybe 10 months, but the compost pile is getting a lot bigger. I know it's not the ideal size for compost, but this is about a year's worth of grass clippings, chopped up leaves, wood chips. I actually turn it quite a bit, but it's looking pretty good. I'm just stockpiling for future use. And by the way, a few years ago I bought a earthquake wood chipper, and we don't use it a lot, but I really like that thing. It allows me to take all this type of material that I collect around here, and whenever I prune or just clean things up generally, and chop it up, turn it into really nice wood chips. And wood chips really are magical for building soil. So we've had a lot of rain lately. The swales have filled up several times this month. Everything's soaked in now, but just a couple days ago the upper swale was full. But right here, these are the fig trees. The two upper ones have really put on a lot of growth the last couple years. You can see most of our peach trees are already blooming. It's February 27th. Haven't set any fruit yet, and the forecast looks like we're gonna have a couple days next week where the temperatures drop down to maybe as low as 23 degrees. So hopefully we don't have any fruit set by that time, or we'll lose it. There's a peach tree over there that's coming out. Much too early for the apple trees, but this is kind of an interesting comparison. That peach tree right there is the one that was here 3 years before the swales, and then these two that are planted close together have really almost put on as much growth, and they were 2-year bare root trees put in the ground about, I think, maybe 4 years later. One of these days I'm gonna have to do a good blog post on the whole history of the swale project, because I'm starting to forget which year we did it, but it'll be good to go back and review my old pictures. You can see here all the peach trees are coming in. The other stuff, like these are, I think those are pears. They'll be later before they start having flowers, but that one's an apple tree, one of the original ones before the swales. The only peach tree that isn't flowering is the one there, which was also one of the ones that predates the swales. We got some buds coming out here on these pear trees. You would have had to have seen this before I started my winter cleanup, but there was a lot of overgrowth. I let things get too grown up this last year. So this winter I've cleaned a lot of stuff up in the swales, kind of making it so I can walk through a lot easier and maintain it on an ongoing basis. Since I have to do all of it myself, it's not easy to take care of everything. So some areas, wherever I can, I make it so that I can clean it up with a mower, and then of course I collect all the organic material for composting and minimize the areas that I have to keep under control by hand, which the swales are always going to be like that. But eventually these trees will get bigger and bigger, and they'll canopy out, and you'll start seeing fewer grasses underneath them. So until that happens, I just clean up the grasses manually. Again, there's more peach trees. The lower swale, things aren't taking off as well in the lower swale. some of the trees are kind of coming along, but they're definitely not growing as fast as the upper swale did. And they get plenty of water, but I think the issue is they don't get as much sun. These trees are all weeds. They're mostly sweet gum trees, which are there's not much good I can say about them. There's a couple oaks. We love the oaks. They give us lots of good leaves for composting and mulching. Here's the pond. It's doing well. I still have to add water to it from our larger storage periodically, but it hasn't been a major problem. It's very easy to do. The goldfish are still alive. They have multiplied. When I'm this close, they won't come around. They get nervous, but they are breeding and multiplying, and we can see things starting to grow up around the pond, which it's very cool to see the evolution of the growth around it. Now this area, I even have to look at my own labels sometimes, but I think that's a redbud tree. But these viney things you see, these are the raspberries, and they did pretty well last year. Not as good as the first year, but they are spreading. They do well, and none of the animals around here seem to want to eat them. The deer leave them alone. The squirrels don't bother the fruit. Anywhere we've tried to grow blackberries, deer eat the blackberry. They eat the leaves right off them every time. They just can't ever seem to get ahead, but the deer don't bother the raspberries. So, as you've heard me say before, my philosophy is always just throw a lot of stuff at it and see what sticks. So I've tried blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and what seems to do well are the raspberries. So they're all good for you, and they all taste good. So I'm happy about having lots of raspberries in the summer. I've just periodically put large pieces of rotting wood in here just to help with building soil. Right over here are the leftovers from a pear tree we cut down, which it's one of the pears I planted in 2011. It was supposed to be a Bartlett pear. Take it back. It's supposed to be a Kiefer pear, and it turned out it was a Bradford pear, which, as you know, is not a pear. So we cut that tree down this winter and saved some of it for firewood. And as far as I'm concerned, that's about all a Bradford pear is good for. So that is about it for today. Maybe some other updates. We're down to 10 chickens in our flock. They're all the same breed, so they all molted at the same time. They all stopped laying at the same time. And we went a good 2 months without any eggs, and they've slowly started laying again. Now we've gotten as many as 3 eggs some days, but we are probably this month about to get some new chicks and replace them. So by summer we should be into a lot of eggs again. So I've really missed fresh eggs for breakfast. Over here you can see some plum trees, and I will try to get a site map done soon so I can reference these things on the map. And you can probably hear we have a military helicopter Always fun to see a Black Hawk helicopter fly over. So This plum tree and this plum tree were also planted back in 2011. They were very small until I started the swale project, and now they just really weren't growing very fast. And just in 2 or 3 years of the swales, with access to the water, and we cleared out some things around them so they got more sun. They also have really taken off in the new environment. This is a nursery tree that it actually produces a lot of plums every year, which so far the squirrels seem to enjoy all of them. That's going to be one of my projects this year, is working on how do I keep the squirrels from eating most of the fruit. Last year we had quite a few peaches, more than they could eat, so we got some, but we had our best apple production ever. Not huge amounts, but still the best ever, and it was, most of the trees had a few apples on them, and it seemed like it was just enough to keep the squirrels from going hungry. We never got to eat a single apple, so I've got to work on how I like sharing with the animals, but I'd like to have some of it myself. So that's an ongoing challenge, is how we keep them from eating everything, because I guess it's probably like candy to them. So that's probably about it for now. I'll try to do more updates as things start to grow. And until next time, this is Jack from BCO Farm.